Give it up for my Biles Trick Man. Trick Man. We all hate puns. All right. It's called my Halloween. It's called My Dad's Dick in the Grand Revelation. Do you remember the first time you saw your dad's dick? I do. As a small child, it's inevitable that you'll end up seeing both of your parents naked at some time or another. Or at least I hope that's a common shared experience. I'm quite positive I didn't understand the concept of what a dick was in those first few years of life. All I knew was Daddy had a big one, and I had a small one. When you're a kid, and I mean, like before the raping of your innocence occurs, your perspective has yet to be warped on such things as genital size and the impact it has upon your place in society. Once you've been corrupted, though, it's like taking a bite of the apple, and your eyes are suddenly open to the truth. People experience this revelation of truth at different ages and by different circumstances, of which I could expound upon in great length. I'm not telling the story of the first time I saw my dad's dick, though. This is the story of the last time I saw my dad's dick. Which, interestingly enough, wasn't all that long ago. This event ejected the ideas about life I constructed in my mind from the first time I'd seen my dad's dick. These two instances served to bookend a part of my life I could finally walk away from. It was the epiphany that sparked my freedom. Now I know what you're thinking, and I'm not trying to make this come off as creepy, because it really wasn't like that. Not intentionally, at least. About 3 years ago, I went to my dad's place and let myself in through the garage unannounced, which was not an uncommon practice, and besides, he was expecting me. I entered into the dark and empty kitchen, flipped on the light, and called out, "Dad! Hey, Dad! You home or what?" No one answered, so I continued through to the living room, switching on lights as I went. I stopped next to the couch when I heard something that sounded like muffled Gregorian chanting coming through the walls all around me. Now, truth be told, I had smoked a joint on the 30-minute drive over. My judgment may have been slightly clouded. I stood very still and I listened hard. It turned out the chanting wasn't coming through all the walls as I initially thought, but from behind only one wall. On top of that, it wasn't Gregorian chanting at all, but was actually the 1977 chart-topping country duet Islands in the Stream with Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers. Man, that was some really good weed. Attached to the wall the music was coming from behind was the door to my dad's room, which was closed but had light coming from underneath. I regained my bearings and I headed for the door. "Hey, Dad," I said, walking into his room. "What are you doing in here, playing with yourself?" Turned out he wasn't playing with himself, but he was dressed for it. By that, I mean he was completely naked, standing in front of his full-length mirror, trimming his mustache with very small scissors. That was the thing, though, about my dad. He could always grow a killer mustache. I, unfortunately, lacked the talent my father possessed in the facial hair department. "What the fuck is wrong with you?" he asked, calmly, not missing a beat on his grooming process. He reached over to his dresser and switched off the stereo. "You just barge in here without knocking? Seriously? Hey! You knew I was coming over here." And that's when I saw it. I mean, I guess I saw it initially when I walked in, but now it really locked in. It was so small. Defeated looking even. Calm down. I was instantly transported back in time to repressed memory land, and the first time I saw my dad's dick. It was just as innocent an occurrence as this, only then my scope of the world, penis-wise, was limited to his and mine, and from my perspective, his was huge. My impressionable brain just accepted that, tied it away as truth, and built ideas in my mind that were never to be changed. Not until today, that is. The penis I was staring into the face of via the mirror's reflection was not the same great and mighty penis from years ago. Only it was. I froze at the preconceived notions of life built from putting my dad's dick on a pedestal exploded into millions of tiny dick-shaped particles of dust in my head. Very, very, very tiny particles. It was in this moment I realized all the things I believed I needed to achieve to be successful were made up and didn't mean anything. I didn't need to achieve the invented idealistic status quo bullshit to feel important. I could now clearly see all the things in my life that were keeping me down and sucking the life out of me were small. They were small and insignificant. None of that stuff mattered anymore. My dad had a small dick. And I was no longer going to allow myself to be ruled by things I could not control. I had the big dick now. And there's nothing anyone could do to change that. Hey, my dad said, why don't you take a picture? It'll last longer. My dad was always a funny guy. Thanks, guys.